You focus too much on this hand goes like, it's like three blind mice. You know what I mean? So just kind of keep that in mind when you are practicing playing loud, because it is the first time you get on a stage and you're playing loud and you've only ever got used to playing through a little practice app, like you realize how many mistakes and how sloppy you actually are. So it takes a while. It doesn't take that long, but it's one of those things you got to get used to. And like for me, I only play that loud when there's nobody else in the house, because I could barely stand it. Little like literally the guitars are falling over, stuff like that. So I guess this video is going to be a bit spliced. So part 1, part 2. I know it's not the best video recordings, but I do believe that there is value in some of these tips. Getting used to playing loud is like I'm getting myself ready for hopefully what's going to be a very live guitar oriented summer, right? And if that's the case, the guitars that you're seeing here are the guitars I'm going to be playing live. Even if they're going to be, it's going to be funny seeing a country band, maybe possibly 2 country bands with a guy with a freaking crazy flying V, high octane flying V. Yeah, it's like, how did he get there? Yeah, one of these things is not like the others. One of these things is not the same. It's the guy with the flying V. But the point I'm making is that get used to playing loud. Usually you do get used to playing fairly loud when you're jamming, but then you go on the stage and things sound different on it. Every stage sounds different. And when they do sound different, the thing is a lot of times it's the way the sound doesn't come back to you. And if you know what I'm talking about, it's like the first time, it's like it throws you off. So you got to get used to, you got to expect it, and you got to get used to being comfortable with it, and just, focusing on your, like your, whatever it is you're doing, you just focus on that, right? And if you're focused on that, you'll hear it through the monitors, you'll hear it, and the audience will hear it. But if you're kind of like half distracted, like you can't play smoothly, right? So yeah, get used to really focusing when you're practicing. If you're practicing with the band or whatever, hopefully I'll be in a band soon. And just being really deliberate about what you're doing, but learn how to do it as relaxed. So get those fingers curled in, get them, a nice, how you hold your pick, that's going to change, get your pick angles, keeping your knuckles off the strings, and no flying pinky, so you're hitting the volume all the time. Ever since I started playing like this, I never have a problem with the volume going up and down, which live you always find that happens, because you tend to try to play harder live because you're trying to compensate for the volume that, like not being able to hear everything perfectly and stuff like that. Now, if you got in-ears and all that stuff and really good monitors, usually that's not a problem. But a lot of times it's like, I got an amp here, got an amp there, and the PA is barely enough to be able to hear the vocalist. And if you can barely hear the vocalist, like the quietest instrument or vocalist will set the volume for the band. And if the drummer doesn't know the difference between, like most drummers, no insult here, but it's just fact reality, are tone deaf. And they think you have to smash and bash and be as loud as you can on everything. If you got a really good drummer, he can set the volume. He'll set the volume. Because it's no good if one person can't hear you, that means everybody can't hear you. If you can't hear one person, means you probably can't hear them all. And that means nobody knows what the other guy's doing. So focus on your stuff, playing it the best you can. And then when you're playing live, like if you have one amp on one side of the guitar amp on one side of the stage and another guitar amp on the other side of the stage, if you can get a spare combo, like you have a combo amp, let's say you got a little amp like this, okay, if you can get a splice off of this and have one speaker on one side of the stage and one speaker on the other side of the stage at half volume, half the volume you normally play, and he does the same, if you can't put it through the PA, you still get to hear him. The bass you don't have to worry about as much because it resonates through everything. But that's usually what the difference between the really good sounding bands and the almost. Yeah, so practice it, unplug till you get it, and then once you get it, whatever it is you're doing, then start practicing that volume, because you're going to find right away as soon as you plug it in, it's going to like that thing's going to be honest to you. It's going to tell you the mistakes you're actually making. It's going to, if you're rubbing your knuckles against the strings while you're playing, or if you're too high off the strings. This is something I'm noticing is when I'm doing like I can't hear it right now, but I guarantee you that's going to be ringing out. That's going to be ringing out. That's going to be ringing out. So you got to learn how to clean up those notes, and all that little stuff. Like you'll hear it once, and then once you hear it once, your ears every time after that will focus in on it. Is what I find, and it's like, okay, there's some things like, for example, like when you hear the pick, right now you hear the note, but through that you hear from the pick, right? Which, okay, some people like that. Some people, there's nothing you can do to get rid of it. It's high volume, high output pickups that are really clear. They're going to pick it up, right? But can you use it to your, get that extra percussiveness off of it? Yeah, you can. So when you're right, so just do that warm up shred stuff like that. Practice what you got to practice. Sounds good there. Every mistake I'm going to make, I'm going to hear through there. Right? So when you get really good through there at high volume, that's when you know you're getting clean notes. That's when you know you're going to be sounding good. So hopefully that helps out. Again, hopefully the demonstration kind of gives you a dose of reality that, it doesn't sound perfect right away. You know what I mean? And that's why I show you some of the raw stuff like that too, because it makes me look bad as a player, right? But then when you see me in the band and I pull it off 100%, it's like, oh wow, how did he do that? He didn't sound that good before. Because I practice it not till I get it right, but till I can't get it wrong, right? So get it right at home. Then when you bring it to the band, you're going to have to annoy the band and say, look, we're going to just play that 10 bars over and over, 5 bars or whatever it is, until I get it. Yeah, there we go. And if you just can't get it, say after about 2 or 3 tries, move on to something else and then go back to it later. Sometimes it just takes a while for your muscle memory to kind of get it. You know what I mean? But just be aware of how much, you don't have to really, like kill yourself with because you don't want to stress your hands, right? So you want to you just don't want that. Like if you play too light, and sometimes you play too light because it's the sensitivity of playing loud, right? It's like, oh, it's so loud that you kind of naturally back off your fingers. Don't. Keep those notes nice and clear. Hard with the thumb, but you get the idea. All right, anyway, hopefully that you enjoyed that, and there you go. Yeah, so now the next testing for the Hot Rod Deluxe will be with either the Dimebag Darrell pedal, where I got that thing hiding over there, or my Zoom pedal. And that should be cool to see if this thing can take some massive gain on this loud amplifier. And then after that, hook that back into that, and that should take care of a lot of the muddiness. And yeah, it's going to be crazy. Can't wait.